All right, I wanted to go over listing a little bit. I don't know if this will help or not, but I thought it might. So I have here the series that we did with the pattern and the X and Y, and I just wanted to show you basically what the dispatch is doing and what is going on within the data part of it. So this geometry is getting pushed out into, in this case, one, two, three, four lists of 5 items. So there's the one, two, three, four with 5 items in each list. What the dispatch is doing, by default, it has a 1 and 0, a true false, is it's going through and getting 0, 0, 0, 0. It's also getting 2, 2, 2, and 2, and 4, 4, 4, and 4. So it's getting 1 and skipping the next one. And it's pushing it out into the lists, right? So if we look at this list, there's the different, the 1, 2, 3, 4 is going across, right? And then getting each one. The second one is getting the 2s, right? So, or it's getting the 1s and the 3s, so you're just getting these guys, right, in a list of 4 going across, right? And then it's splitting it into those two lists, so it gives you those two lists. If you use this cull pattern and you go to the curve here, it's actually just giving you the positives, right? So it's the same pattern, but this is giving you the zeros and the ones, and this is just giving you the ones. If you come in and look at this list index, what this does is it takes the same list of these guys and it gives you the zeros. So there's all the zeros, 0, 0, 0, 0. It gives you the ones, there's all the ones. There's all the 2s, there's all the 3s, and there's all the 4s. So basically what this guy is doing is it's going and getting 0, 2, and 4, and then on the opposite side, it's getting you 1 and 3, right? And it'll just repeat if it goes back, okay? So if we flip the matrix, so if I flip the matrix, we're going to get 5 lists of 4, and I'll put this into here, and then put this into here, right? And it's going to do verticals. So again, we have 0, 1, 2, and 3 now, and then the 4 will just start to repeat itself, right? So it's not a problem, it's a sort of ongoing list. And then this guy is getting the zeros and then the evens, and this guy is getting the ones and all the odds, right? And spitting it out. And again, this one is oh, we didn't flip the list on that one. This one's doing the zeros and the evens and then not giving you the other list. Let's go ahead and pull this guy back to where we had it at the very beginning. So just starting over. And then what would happen, so right now it's acting on a list of lists, which is called a tree. And what would happen if we flatten this? So I'm going to come to this guy and I'm going to flatten this list. So now there are no more divisions and the list is just one big list. So now what will it get? So this one will get every other one. Now it's just going 0, 2, 4 all the way down that list and getting every other one, and this is giving you the opposites of that, right? If we change this cull pattern, which in order to make a pattern, I'll make one here real quick, you need a panel, right? And you need to double click in that panel and put in like 0 and then enter and then 1 and then enter and then 0. And you have to make this called called multi-line data. So once you do that, you need to say it's multi-line data, and it'll change it into something that can be used as a list for a pattern, a cull pattern. But in this one, since it's already plugged in, I'll just come in and I'll do 1, 0, 0, right? So if I do 0 and click OK, now it's getting every third one. So first one, skip 2, 1, skip 2, 1, skip 2, 1, skip 2, 1, right? And then you can come in and just keep adding on to this. So I could just do 1 or changing it. Now it's going to do 2, and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. So you can start to put in different patterns and get different versions of what you want. And then and it's just pulling those out. You can see the scale, right, is now just scaling the ones that I pulled out. So you have a lot of options for that. I also wanted to show you, I'll put this up on the module 2. There's a little lists and sort thing that I'll put up there. This is the shortest and longest list. It needs a curve, so if you want to, you could come in and actually maybe I'll okay, so I just set this guy up so it would work. But what this is, this, if you want to take a look at it, it's up on Canvas. It'll go through and kind of show you what these listing things do. So for example, if you have a divided line and you preview this shortest list, it goes and does as many as it can and then does the shortest. This one does the longest, right? So if I preview this guy, it'll go through and just draw lines in, and then let me get rid of these guys, right? And then if I preview this one, which is a cross list, it goes through and draws a line from every single point. So there's all those sort of ways of dealing with listing. Here's some list management options. So reversing a list, getting the length of a list, listing one item, which I kind of showed you. So it's listing the number 5. You can come down and at the bottom it'll start to list 0, 1, 2. You can hit a plus, and now this will be like start to list the various, let's actually, if you get rid of this guy will start to list. It's actually doing a multiplication of those, but it'll start to list those. So you can either do it as a single, right, or you can add those little things on. This one obviously will pop through and do that. And then splitting lists, so taking a list, splitting it in half, partitioning lists, so this actually makes a tree, so it makes a tree out of a list. And then subsets, so getting a subset between 2 and 5, so it just splits out the 2 to the 5. And there's your dispatch, true, false, right? So you could change these, this guy. You can do 0, 1, but you can also just type in true. 0, 1 is faster, but it will update, obviously, that dispatch list. And then there's a weave that goes through and does 0, 1, so it'll just weave these two together. The reason it's red is because in this one it has an empty space. It's still working, but if you get rid of the empty space, right, it will get rid of the red. Same thing with these. There's just a space at the bottom of one of these. See where it says empty? It'll still work, right? But this is sorting, right? So this is sorting by integer, so it's taking this and sorting it in order, right? And this is a pick and choose, right? So it has a pattern, so there's a long pattern, and it'll go through and pick these guys and pick these guys and then put them together in one list. You can kind of look at that a little bit more closely. There are a few other things like culling, right? So we were looking at the cull list, so true, false goes and gets every other one. Again, this could be 0 and 1. But you guys can go through and kind of take a look at these. You could play with this one a little bit. This one actually, so this one actually comes in and puts out a population of points, and then gets the distance between this point, all those points, and a point on a curve. So there's a curve here, right? Let me there's a curve here, and then there's a point that can be moved up and down that curve, and it analyzes it and finds the closest point and puts a sphere on that closest point in the population. So what this does is it uses the sort, right? And it sorts all of those distances into a list. I'm going to pull that out, right? And this lists the 0 item, which is going to be the closest point, the shortest distance, and then it lists that item, right out. But what this does is it actually takes this point, finds the closest point, right, and then sorts and puts a sphere on this guy right here. This one takes several points, so if I took this and put it into the sphere, it'll take a certain number of points and put spheres on the closest points to this point, and then if you move this point around, all those points will move with it, right? So it's just a little sorting exercise there. And down here is just showing you a list of a tree list. You can look at that as well. If you have any questions, let me know. I just thought this might be a good little, especially this stuff up here might be a good little thing for you guys to have.